I wanted to stop scrolling on my phone because I was getting about 8 hours a day screen time on my phone, about 48 hours a week, and that's 2 whole days. Like, that's crazy. That's 2 days of my time like that on my phone doing nothing else. And there were other things that I much rather would have been doing. And at that point, I would have been spending all of my free time on my phone. Like, every instance of free time on my phone. I wanted to spend my free time in a way that was intentional, and I really wanted to invest in the hobbies and the things that I want to do, and I always forget about that, like, and the languages that I want to learn, you know, and I felt like I didn't have the time to do that, and I looked at my screen time, I was like, no, I have the time, I'm just spending it on my phone, and that's not the life I want to live. It's not giving what I wanted to give, you know? Also, I was getting a ton of stuff on the YouTube algorithm because I was, like, watching these people, like, go analog, or, like, Eddie Burback put out a video recently where he completely got rid of his cell phone for, like, a week, which is crazy. And then there was another girl that I watched, and she would only go on the internet for an hour a day. So that was interesting. It was interesting to see what that looked like and how it changed their day and how they interacted with the people around them. Okay. My first video essay, or like my vlog or whatever, I just wanted to sit down and talk and share my experience with you or with me, because I will likely be watching this back. But all day, week, barely enough to get by, and the rest of the money goes to the guys up here, right? And you work and you make money for rich guys, and then you come home and you scroll on TikTok, or you scroll on Instagram, or you scroll on Facebook, and you make money for Meta or whoever the fuck owns and runs and profits off of us being on TikTok all the time. And then with us being on TikTok all the time, we're not being good activists. We're not actually really doing anything. We might be organizing, or we might be raising awareness or talking about an issue, but you know, I think that there are better ways that we could actually be organizing rather than watching something and talking about it and feeling like we did something. It's another tool of oppression. I know. It's just not something that I want to be involved in or spending my time doing, and especially spending so much of my time doing. Another thing that I didn't realize until after that I kind of gone through it is the type of content that I was consuming, right? Because on social media, you have an algorithm, and it's all these things that you like or you've interacted with, or that social media knows will get a response out of you and will get engagement on a post, right? But you don't really choose. You don't click play. You don't type something in and search what you want to watch. You don't look for something based on your interests. For the most part, it's just automatically fed to you, and sometimes it's really harmful content. Sometimes it's something that pushes the beauty standard even farther up than it already is. And I know that that's a separate video, and I support women in everything that they do, you know, but I think that there is a danger when you tell young girls that this is what it looks like just naturally to be pretty, and you've had filler and lipo and you're always wearing a filter. Like, there's one girl, I think she has like an OF and stuff, and she has a relatively big platform. She straight up was like, no, I did not look like this naturally. This is plastic surgery, this is filters, this is this. But when you don't disclose that and you say, oh no, I naturally look like this, and you need to naturally look like this to have the things that I have, or to have the admiration that I have, or to be valued the way that I am valued, because we love to tell women and we love to tell young girls that the most value that they have is in being beautiful and in being pretty and in being something that a man can wear on his arm and show off. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but the type of content that we consume constantly all the time that is in front of us, right? And the anxiety that can cause, and the self-esteem issues that can cause. Also, something that I discovered while like doing this experiment, there's so many variables, it's like not viable like scientifically, but my own personal experiment, right, was that choice and time and capitalism, right? Because it's like, okay, when I open my phone, I don't have to choose. I love that. I open my phone and I'm entertained, and I had to click one fucking button to get here, and the only decision I had to make was to open the app. That's it. I didn't have to think about my interests. I didn't have to go over to the 4 different fucking platforms that all the TV is on. Don't get me started. It was just there. And again, this ties into capitalism, and it ties into how much labor we are doing. It ties into, I don't want to say the deconstruction of the nuclear family, because like there's like stuff there that feels icky, but what I do want to say is that both people now in the household have to work. So domestic labor now is no longer, because domestic labor you put hours and hours into. If you look at mothers and the hours and like days worth of labor, I think they do like, it's a full-time job to take care of the home, to make meals, to take care of the children. It's a lot of hours. And now you go to work, you come home, you clean, you go to bed, and you do that. And then you maybe get a couple hours on your Saturday if you want to have a clean home, if you want to be in good shape, if you want to do the things you like to do, if you want to have a good social life, right? So with that, you're so exhausted, you come home, you just don't even want to have to think about it, right? You don't want to have to think about the media you're selecting. You don't want to have to look around, you know? And I think that that's kind of a social consequence, and also a reason why TikTok and Instagram are as big as they are, and why they're so accessible, right? And even with Netflix and stuff, but that's how those two things are interlinked. So when it comes to my goals in the experiment, if I sit closer, does that light go away? Yeah, I can just sit closer. Okay, so when it comes to my goals in the experiment, I mostly was looking at spending my time, like my big goal was to reduce my screen time, but primarily to spend my time in a way that's intentional and that like was things that I actually wanted to do. Like that I'd like been like, yeah, this is something that I want to invest my time in, I want to get better at, and that I think brings vibrancy and color and joy to my life. Those are the things that I want to do. So I wanted to see if I can get off my friggin' phone, if I can do the things that I love, you know, and how that would change how I feel in my life. I wanted to build actual social connection, because I felt that, I think I'll go into it later, but I wanted to build like real, actual, tangible social connection, and I wanted to spend more, again, intentional time with my friends and my family and the people that I love and that I commune with, right? And then also to cut my screen time down, right? Oh, so another thing about your phone, and I'll post the other video that I seen about this. A lot of this stuff comes from these different videos, and I'll link them in the description because I don't know how to put them as a title card. I tried. I don't know. I had to actually, I'm filming this video again for like the 4th time, like after trying to edit everything in Clipchamp and figuring it out. But yeah, your phone is a Skinner box. And basically, in a nutshell, the Skinner box references an experiment that was done with 3 different boxes and a bunch of different pigeons, right? And in box A, you would press a button, and when you press the button, you would get your cookie, right? In box B, you would press the button and you wouldn't get a cookie. In box C, sometimes you would get a cookie and sometimes you wouldn't get a cookie, and everything went pretty normal for the pigeons in box A and the pigeons in box B, and the pigeons in box C freaked the fuck out and like lost their shit. Like it was, I don't remember the details of the experiment, but you can watch the video or you can look it up. But basically your phone, your algorithm is a Skinner box because you are not getting everything that you want to see all the time. Sometimes you see stuff that you don't want to see and you scroll past it. So when you get a video that you want to see, you're like, oh, nice. You feel like you earned a reward. You feel like you put an effort in, earned a reward, and it fries your freaking dopamine, right? And so your phone is a skitter box. And I'm like, that really upset me. And I think that's something that helped keep me going throughout the experiment. And even now. First, one of the things that I struggled with was being confronted with my emotions. Yeah. Because they're there and I can't go on my phone to distract myself from the fact that I've had like a conflict with somebody or I don't like how I'm feeling. I have to just sit with that, or I have to make the conscious decision to avoid it and distract myself and do something else. And that was really difficult to just be like, oh, I have to feel this. Because I don't like feeling my feelings and it makes me incredibly uncomfortable, but it is something that I want to get better at, especially in my field of work, you know, where I'm going to be, you know, in like mental health and stuff. Like, I can't be a hypocrite about it. I can learn, and if I learn, then I have a bigger depth of knowledge to share, right? So that was a challenge, was actually just like accepting the fact that I had feelings. But I wound up using a feelings wheel, and now the only thing that I focused on is identifying what I'm feeling. I don't do anything else. I just focus on identifying what I'm feeling. And it is hard, but I don't know, I guess it's like, it is hard, but I guess it's like I would rather pay attention to what's going on. I would rather address the conflicts in my relationships and build stronger relationships than avoid my emotions or my conflicts because it feels easy or because doing anything else feels too difficult. What is that costing me? You know? Another thing that because again, with all the YouTube videos, I watched one about how music through an algorithm isn't the best way to explore music. And the person that I was watching explained that you can use to get stuff on like MTV and in these music magazines and stuff. And when I heard about that, I was thinking about how music is packaged and sold to us and how that's changed over time, and how when I grew up in the 90s, well, I didn't grow up in the 90s. I was born in the 90s. I grew up in the 2000s. So when I grew up in the 2000s, we had CDs and we had like MP3s. But I remember CDs, and I remember buying CDs. My first CD I bought was Avril Lavigne, because I'm a baddie, that's why. I got Avril Lavigne, and then I got Simple Plan, and then I got My Chemical Romance, right? So like, the pipeline started when I was young. But I remember buying the albums and listening to the entire album on my CD player, and then also giving my home's computer like trouble because of LimeWire, trying to burn like CDs and shit. But it was a complete package. It was something that the artist sat down, and it was like, sometimes it was thematic. Mariana's Trench's Masterpiece Theater 1 and 2 are on a theme. They're albums that they did with the music videos that followed a story, right? It was a whole package, and it was something to explore and something to do. You would sit down and listen to music, and that was what you did. Well, you can still do that. Like, it's not like it's the end of the world. But you could sit down and you could listen to this, and you could listen to the whole thing and get the theme and get the messages, and then it would change for the next album. And that obviously still happens. Like, as artists, they grow and they change with the albums that they produce, and then they're a sign of the times, or they're a sign of an era, or, you know, like, especially with Taylor Swift. She's great with her albums being thematic and everything, right? But now, a lot of things are marketed to go viral on TikTok. I think Doechii talked about that. Yeah, she did talk about that in one of her songs. And so we're kind of looking at singles and things like that, and it just made me think about how social media has changed arts, and that's just interesting in its own, to see art evolve and change. Like, memes are technically an art format because they meet the definition and the criteria for it, right? what was I saying? So, with that in mind, I was like, you know what I would really like to do? I would like to go to the library, and I would like to take out some CDs and just full on just listen to an album. I'm not in a place where I can just sit and listen to something because my ADHD. And I just don't enjoy being still. I'm like, I need to get off my phone and then I can think about being like still. But I was like, I want to go to the library and I'm going to take out some CDs. And I did, actually. I have them right here. I have Kali Uchis Red Moon and Venus. I have Beck's Odelay, which came out in 1996, I think. Here's the thing. I was like, I'm gonna go in and take them home and put them on PS4 and like listen to my music on my PS4. No, the PS4 does not play CDs. The PS3 does. The PS3 does, but not the PS4. And neither does my computer. I have nothing in my house that can play a CD. So I listened to the entire album on Spotify in one sitting. And I did it while I was painting. And so I would paint and listen to music and do these two things that I really enjoyed. And it was cool to explore music in that way. It was just how social media has changed things. I also got a lot more I got a lot more schoolwork done in a shorter period of time just because it was something for me to do. Because I wasn't scrolling on my phone. I was like, oh, I'm bored. I guess I'll do my schoolwork. Like, I started texting my friends rather than being on social media because I felt like I was lonely, so I would reach out to the people that like actually care about me. And it felt great. And we actually followed this like email format where basically I go blah 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 blah, update, things I like, blah blah blah, send, leave it. It's in the textosphere. It's in the air and the telephone wires and however the fuck that shit works. I don't know. It's not my concern. And I just leave it there. And then they get back to me whenever they're ready to get back to me. And there's no pressure on them, and there's no pressure on me, and it leads to better conversation. Let's see. And being constantly available for other people. I think that having that demand on you of like, oh, somebody messaged me, like, it's rude for me not to respond. No matter what headspace you're in, it's like, I owe it to them. And I will say you do owe, like, respect and communion and care to the people in your life. Absolutely, you need to give a shit and show up. But it's also within respect of when you're ready to do that. Because when you do it when you're ready, rather than when you have to, you show up in a better version of yourself. We can't always do that, but I think we should when we can, right? I was scrolling on Facebook when I started. I stopped about midway through because I didn't like it. I really hated being on Facebook, like scrolling on Facebook. I hated it. I would go on the reels and I hated it. So I justified that because I do my community like connection and events and stuff on there. So I just said I can do it on my computer. I'm going to continue trying not to use it. And I'm going to try different ways to figure that out. I have put so much more time into my hobbies, and I get to create art just for the sake of making art, you know, and I get to play my guitar just for the sake of playing guitar. And I read, like, I actually read. I read books that, like, I don't know, I gave this book a chance recently because it didn't jump in right away, and I usually need to be like, she was running for her life, and I'm, like, hooked. So, we'll see. But I'm reading. I'm actually, like, sitting down and reading, which I know it's, like, it's not this big deal, but for me it is. To sit down and do that intentionally, and to do that rather than scrolling on my phone, and to enjoy doing it, even if it's a book that I don't necessarily like, and getting to figure out that it's a book that I don't like because I'm reading it. I've been more social. Because like I don't know why. I don't know if it's because there's a parasocial aspect of feeling like you have a community and a space where you don't actually talk to anybody. You know, like on TikTok, that's how I felt. I know it's different for everyone, but like just being in these little boxes, it's like, oh, you're in this group and you're in this group and you're in this group, but none of you talk to each other and you're not doing anything. So I've been going out and I've been finding things that I'm interested in and I'm doing them. And I'm going to try and continue to do that. because that's, again, how you build community, and it's what I want. That's what I want, so I will go, and I will get it. I will try, and I will go, and I will get it, right? I'm learning new languages. I guess I should be specific, right? Like, with me being hard of hearing, especially with the work that I've been doing, I guess I've been feeling a little out of place. And I've been really struggling to hear. I think I have bronchitis or something, and so my sinuses are all like packed up and everything. I really can't hear. I'm really hoping to get a hearing aid this summer because I had such a hard time hearing my clients, and because I couldn't hear them, I couldn't understand them, and because I couldn't understand them, I couldn't connect to them. And that's a driving force behind why I am doing what I'm doing, because I want to connect with people and I want to help them. I want to, you know, make the world a better place or whatever. You may say that I'm a dreamer. So I put something out on Facebook and I just left it there, and then I came back and there was an event going on for deaf people, and I went and everybody there was signing. And like, that's so cool. I've been wanting to learn sign language for a very long time, and I had no one in my life to do it with. And now I have a reason, and I've been learning sign language again because I'm going tomorrow. I'm going back tomorrow. And they welcomed me with like open arms. So that was important to me, and that mattered to me, and it genuinely made my life better. Okay, I'm gonna bring my laptop here for this one. I'm just gonna read this to you. Being on my phone all the time made me feel like shit. Being constantly made aware of all the terrible things happening all over the world all the time that are out of my reach and out of my control made me feel powerless and hopeless, which made me feel like I couldn't help anyone. So when I talk about that, I know that we are familiar with Donald Trump's shock and awe tactics, where you do as much damage as quickly as possible to exhaust people as much as possible. Right? And I think that that's kind of a little bit what happens on the internet as well, is you're constantly exposed to all these things that you have no control over and are totally heartbroken about. And I think it leads us to being poor activists, and I think it leads us to be exhausted activists, like to look at you and say, hey, like, I'm not saying you're doing a bad job, I'm saying that you're tired, and that's on purpose. They want you to be tired, right? And so I think when I say you need to find your niche, and you need to find what you're good at, what you're passionate about, what matters to you. If you care about animals and you love being around animals, do something about that. Like, put your work in whatever capacity that you can. Whatever capacity you can. It could be volunteering, it could be running a volunteer organization, it could be writing to members of whatever you're interested in, whatever you care about, whatever you're passionate about. Do something about that in the capacity that you can. Nothing is too small. No action is too small. No action does not matter, you know? But do something. And do what's important to you and focus on that, because if you start looking at everything all around you all the time, you're never going to get anything done ever. And you know who that benefits? Not us. So I found I am not constantly comparing myself to the most beautiful people I have ever seen, back to back, like, seriously, like, most beautiful people I've ever seen. And then I go and I have to look at that, and I'm like, oh, okay, you feel a little shitty about yourself. I did. My self-esteem's not great, but, like, I don't know. I don't like feeling like that. I do feel a little bit better about myself. I feel better about how I look. I feel like I care less. I care less about how I look. I care less about how I'm being perceived. I don't think I will ever truly let that go because of my experience being perceived as a woman, right? But I do feel better, and I feel more confident, and I feel less like a creature that crawled out from under somebody's bed. I feel like a human being and a person, and I don't know. That part of me has felt better, and I don't think I was expecting that to happen at all. For me, it's enough for me to be mindful and intentional about where I am physically, what I'm doing with my body and my mind, and how I am choosing to rest and nurture myself. How are you choosing to rest, and how are you nurturing yourself? There's like 5 different kinds of rest. There's like social rest, where you take a break from socializing. There's like creative rest, where you take a break from that. But like, in what ways are you nourishing your soul, your body? The Anishinaabe have the medicine wheel, they taught me about it in my classes and stuff, where you have your emotional, your mental, your physical, and your spiritual. How are you contributing, and how are you taking care of those aspects of yourself? And does your phone do any of that for you? And are you truly resting when you're scrolling on social media? Is there a way that you would like to rest more? And how can you incorporate that into your life? Rather than saying, fuck social media, let's just try to ban it all right away. That chances of success, I don't see that being super successful. But what can you add to your life that would make it richer? What can you add in the way that you rest that would be more helpful and more not successful, but it would work better for you? I feel more grounded and connected to the people around me. Painting is hard and makes me frustrated, but I still choose to do it for the sake of making art because I enjoy the process. I don't have to post it or prove to anyone that I have talent or that I have worked hard. I just get to create quietly and for no one but myself. There is no intended audience. Even in these videos, yes, I want them to be enjoyable, but I make them because I enjoy it. I like talking to my phone camera and filming my experience as a human being and then sharing that with other human beings, which I think the want to share your humanity in itself is a very human act. So yeah, I do think that we do all need to go outside and touch some grass. And I'm not saying that technology is bad, because it isn't, but how we use it matters and who it benefits matters. I'm not saying that we all need to get off the internet, because I believe that the internet can make us stronger and more effective in acts of protest and solidarity, but just to be mindful of how that changes our lives and if it is for the better or for the worst. Thank you for listening to me and witnessing my human experience, and I will see you in the next one.
So, closing statements and sentiments. With having not been on my phone for so long, I'm more social, I'm more creative, I feel more at ease, I feel less anxious, I feel more connected to the people around me and connected to the things that I'm doing. I got my phone time down to about like 2 hours a day average, and most of that time is spent on Netflix or on like different social apps and stuff. I definitely recommend that you like give this a try and see how it makes you feel and how it, impacts and changes your life, and see like what you're capable of. Like how long can you go without your phone, or how long can you go without social media, or how many social media apps can you delete, and how does it make you feel? And like, maybe come back and leave me a comment and talk to me about your experience, or share your thoughts with me about what I've said, because I said a lot. I had about 30 minutes worth of things to say. I didn't realize that I swore like a trucker. That is something that I learned about myself that I'm going to have to watch for. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from you.